Hello, my name is Leanne, and today I'm going to talk to you about architecture and power, how the early church used architecture to establish authority. The easiest example to see of how the church adapted architecture is the basilica. Roman basilicas were public legal buildings where magistrates would hear cases. There were two of them located on either end of the Roman Forum. This is the plan for the Basilica Oppia, which was built by Emperor Trajan and is located at Trajan's Forum. All buildings have an axis, which is the central line that dictates how the building is designed and balanced. The axis can also dictate how people move through the space. So the Basilica Oppia has two axes, one that's horizontal and one that's vertical. As we can see here, people would enter through the long sides of the building and then could move forward, go left, or go right. Here we see the plan for a Christian basilica, St. Apollinaire in Classy. Beside the change in function, here people enter through the short side, and there's only one axis that leads directly from the doors to the altar. So why do this? Adopting the basilica shape sent several messages. The basilica was a center of legal power in Rome, and now it was the center of power for the church. Since the host and the altar were located in the apse, as the magistrates in ancient Rome were, it put Christ as the magistrate and cemented that his was the last and most important judgment. So here we can see the apses of two churches, Santa Croce in Florence and Santa Maria in Trastevere in Rome. And both of these churches utilize the basilica layout. So next we're going to talk about domes. The Pantheon is one of the best surviving examples of Roman ingenuity, particularly for its dome. The Romans envisioned that the world was flat and that a heavenly dome was above it. The Pantheon, which is a temple to all gods, was meant to mimic this idea. In fact, the Pantheon was so important to the Romans that when it fell into disrepair, Emperor Hadrian had it reconstructed and kept the original donor, Marcus Agrippa's name on it. The Pantheon so mirrored Christian ideals that it was Christianized in 1609 and renamed St. Mary of the Martyrs. So the Pantheon was originally a temple to all the gods. In taking such a sacred site and making it Christian, it says to the world that there is only one God who triumphs over all others. The oculus of the dome serves a dual purpose. It allowed natural light into the building, but also lightened the weight of the dome at its highest point. Symbolically, the oculus could also be seen as a window from the symbolic heavens to the real ones. Similarly, the coffers, the carved niches in the dome, serve the purpose of making the dome lighter without sacrificing the structural integrity. They also became a space for decorations. In the Pantheon, they were painted dark blue with gold stars to simulate the heavens. We see domes used throughout churches, although the design was greatly improved upon during the early Christian and Byzantine era. Many still use the oculus and coffers. So here we see coffers in an arch at St. Peter's Basilica and the dome of St. Peter's, which features both an oculus and coffers. And then here we see the Cappella dei Principi, one of the Medici chapels in Florence, which notably features an oculus but has no coffers. I feel like now is a good time to bring up one of my favorite topics when it comes to art and architecture, which is spolia. So spolia is elements or objects that are taken from their original place and purpose and repurposed, almost like artistic recycling. A phenomenal example of this is seen in the Arch of Constantine. The arch was commissioned to celebrate the emperor's victory over Maxentius at the Battle of Milvian Bridge in 312. However, many of the elements of the arch, such as the rondels, are actually pieces from older sculptures of emperors Trajan, Hadrian, and Marcus Aurelius that were taken and minutely changed to reflect their new purpose. These changes are obvious when looking at the pieces, as the artistic styles often clash. Some art historians actually argue that the whole monument used to be one to Emperor Hadrian. However, Constantine was not just doing this in the interest of saving time and money. By taking elements of other triumphal arches and making them his own, he was sending a clear message. His success is following a legacy of other powerful emperors. However, he is also the greatest of all of these emperors, so much so that their triumphs are his and his triumphs are greater than them all. The adaptation of the Pantheon into a church is another great example of spolia. However, we also see this in St. Peter's, whose facade was built using marble from the Colosseum. The reason behind this in part can be attributed to the scarcity of resources, but you can't deny the power associated with destroying an ancient monument and using the pieces to build a new center for people to gather in. The final subject I would like to touch on is storytelling and its role in establishing authority. And the example I would like to use is the church of Cosmas and Damian, next to the Romans Forum. It's dedicated to twin physicians who were martyred in Syria. The former temper of Castor and Pollux, who were twins of myth, who walked the line between immortality and mortality, was located nearby. This was no mere coincidence. In fact, the site was specifically chosen for that reason, among others. The Pope hoped that Cosmas and Damian would be a substitute for Castor and Pollux and help people take that final step into conversion. Connecting stories to other well-established archetypes is common throughout history. In fact, Roman poet Virgil did something similar with his hero Aeneid, who fled from the Trojan War, the main conflict in much earlier works by Homer. To sum everything up, the early church needed to establish authority if it ever hoped to thrive, and it did so by connecting itself to pre-existing symbols and ideas while simultaneously presenting itself as an improvement over what came before it. So, if you would like to see a full list of references, they will be down below in the description. And thank you for watching.